Halo investor, bertemu kembali dengan saya Rimba Laut dalam program Vibiz Dialog. Pada kesempatan kali ini kita akan berbincang-bincang dengan Bapak Aceh Matur selaku Vice President Director of Consumer Banking ANZ. Dan pada saat ini kita akan langsung saja bertemu dengan beliau dan berbincang-bincang. Halo Mr. Aceh, how are you?
Very well, good afternoon.
Okay, maybe we can ask you about first, how do you see consumer banking business in Indonesia, and could you please explain the potential of consumer banking business at ANZ?
Okay. Indonesia is a rapidly developing economy, and as a consequence, it is the fourth largest population in the world. Consequently, the opportunity for consumer banking is tremendous. So I'd probably say, demographics. Okay. Increasing consumerism, which again is a function of growth of the economy, and the under-penetration, so to speak, of more sophisticated financial products means that the opportunity is the way I look at it. Three big things in terms of consumer banking. What ANZ is doing is to maximize this opportunity. What we are focused on, our target segment is the upper 2% of the population of Indonesia, where we want to offer financial products that meets the entire needs of this top 2% of the population. When we look at statistics, we find that most of the revenue and most of the balance sheet is actually sitting in this top 2% of Indonesia's customer population. It is growing. As the Indonesian middle class grows and gets more affluent, there are more and more Indonesians coming into this segment of emerging affluent and upwards. And it is exactly in this segment that we would like to take a leading position.
Okay, and what is your target market?
So across all products, we are looking at the emerging affluent consumer in Indonesia, which is about 2% of the population of Indonesia in that sense. So in many ways, the total target market is in the range of about 500,000 and thereabouts in terms of creating an opportunity. At the same time, we've got products which are also can be served across consumers who are coming into the emerging affluent, like personal loans and like credit cards. So that's the entire catchment area that we're looking at.
And what is your strategy to penetrate or grab this target market, considering all banks, especially or local bank, also have the same product and services?
Yeah. So look, that's a very important question, and we took a long time to answer this as we did our own business planning, and we realized that the one area where banks are really vacant from a positioning standpoint is basically being able to bank customers and their families. So we don't look at customers as mere numbers, or we don't look at products as something that just needs to be made available to a customer, but we want to look at it from a relationship standpoint. And it's not just the customer, it's his entire family. So for us, our strategic intent is really to build long-lasting banking relationships with customers and their families by using connectivity, which is connecting the various countries in which ANZ operates to the needs of the customer that we are targeting, as well as by using relevant products and channels. Let me just take a moment to explain this to you. Indonesian customers are very familiar with Australia, and one of the reasons for doing that is that there are thousands of children who go each year from Indonesia to study into Australia. For ANZ, Australia is its home market, right? So this ability to connect Australia, New Zealand and Indonesia is something which only ANZ can offer and can be uniquely differentiating from some of its other competitors. So like I said, this is a way of banking customers and their families, not just here, but using the opportunity to connect them across the ANZ network.
Recently, the world just experienced the global economic crisis in Europe also. Is there any effects to your business, and what is your strategy for that?
So Europe is connected to Indonesia in as much as Indonesia is connected to Europe. I mean, as Indonesia comes out of its out of its own private or domestic consumption, which of course is one of the reasons why Indonesia is actually not really facing the impact of the European crisis, because it's got a very sound and increasing domestic consumption. But for various amounts of trade and export and import, Indonesia is connected into Europe. We think the impact on Indonesia should be low to minimal, and the reason for that, as I said, is because domestic consumption is so strong. As far as the impact to our business is concerned, I think we equally consider it to be minimal, simply because we're operating in the domestic environment, and of course, as businesses which may have some trade or some relationship with Europe gets impacted, it may impact the consumer as well. But like I said, I think the overall impact is fairly low. So Indonesia continues to be in a position of strength.
Okay, maybe we can know what is your target in 2012, and is there any for branch expansion, and any target in terms of profit or revenue in this year?
Right. For us, Indonesia is what we call as a franchise market, which at ANZ, which means that it is one of the key markets here that we want to invest in all our businesses, and we want to become a full-service bank in Indonesia. So that's the overlying statement. Secondly, in Indonesia, we want to grow at least 3 times than what GDP is growing. So GDP roughly 6.5%. I think if we're growing at about 20%, then it's it's going to be a good growth for our business in Indonesia. So that's kind of what our target is, in 2012 and thereabouts. In terms of revenue or any NPAT number, I think we just kind of keep that. We don't disclose those numbers, but I can definitely tell you that we're one of the largest foreign banks in Indonesia, and at the same time growing fairly rapidly. In terms of branch networks expansion, we are present today in 11 cities, which makes us actually in all of the key cities in Indonesia, we've got a presence. What we are proposing to do now is to relocate a couple of branches in our key main cities, so that we can tap the important areas that are coming up in terms of development, and where our target market is either works, lives, or plays. So those are the areas that we want to be present in. So that's going to be our network strategy.
Demikian pemirsa vibiznews.com. Vibiz Dialog pada kesempatan kali ini bersama dengan Bapak Ajay Matur selaku Vice President Director of Consumer Banking ANZ. Sampai jumpa kembali di lain kesempatan bersama dengan saya Rimba Laut. Salam investasi.